Author Matthew Fillion's new book, Doc's Silence, The Cost of Magic, is the latest in the Indestructibles superhero novel series. Doc's Silence, the Indestructibles' mysterious mentor, is one of the greatest magicians. And the cost of magic. We finally hear his story in this urban fantasy meets superhero adventure. He'll face demons and dragons, fae and immortals, as he decides how much of himself he's willing to give up to be a hero. All magic has a cost. How much is young Doc Silence willing to pay? You can find this on Amazon, Kindle, and through MatthewFillion.com. Check it out. Greetings and salutations, DMs, GMs, referees, judges, game operations directors, and all other varieties of storytellers. This is your DM, Scott. And it's time for another DM Quick Tip. It's Who's a Better DM this week on DM Quick Tips.
I am.
Boy, the shit you hear. Who? You fucked up my flow, Lewis. We don't have time for any tomfoolery. Can we take it from the top?
I'm leaving that in. Go ahead.
Who's a better DM? Me or Matt Mercer? Who's a better DM? Me or Amy Vorpal? She's definitely better looking than me. She's got that. Who's a better DM? Me or DM Bill? How many times have you asked yourself something similar? Maybe you've even asked other players that question. If this is something you do, and sometimes we can't help but wonder, right? Please stop right now. I'll wait. Okay, good. Why? Why should you stop asking such questions? Well, it's not good for you as a DM, that's why. What this does is cause you to miss opportunities you may have to better yourself in your role as a DM. It's also a really unproductive question because better is an opinion, and opinions are not facts. This is also not a competition. It's about having a good time, not about who's better. Instead, I ask you to ask this. What can I learn from this DM that I don't already know? Now, that's a much better question. It's a much better question because this question stimulates growth, whereas the first one does not. When I stopped asking who's a better DM and started asking what can I learn from this DM that I don't already know, I grew quite a lot as a DM and became much better at my craft than I already was. When did this happen? Well, here's a story. I had been running games for about 7 or 8 years. My buddy Rob had invited me to a game, and man, did he hype it up. This guy is the best DM ever. His this is great. His that is awesome. No one's games come close to his. Wow. I thought, I'm going to dig this game. Yep, I'm in. So I went, and I played with this new DM and a couple of guys I had never met before, a couple of long-haired stoners, my buddy Rob, of course, and this other guy with perfect hair. Did it live up to the hype? Yeah, it was a really good game, and yeah, he was a really good DM. The best I'd seen so far. It was clear I had a ways to go. So I asked myself, who's a better DM, me or him? That little story doesn't sound so bad, does it? Well, it's not, but here's where the who's better question caused a problem. I had this DM at my table, and it was intimidating, and it wasn't so long after I sat at his either. He was so hyped up and so good that it was really intimidating to have him sit at my table. This can really affect how you run, and for me it did, and opportunities were missed. Chalk it up to the foolishness of youth. What can I learn from this DM that I don't already know is what I should have been focused on and have been since that encounter. We all have a tool belt that we don when we sit in the big chair. It is full of our tools and some that we have borrowed from other DMs, or at least it should be. Every time I sat at a table with someone, I watch how they run their game, not to compare myself to them or them to me, but to see if they have a tool I can borrow to improve my game. And almost always they do. If they do not, then I can usually identify a tool, for lack of a better term, I don't want to use in my game. Either way, it's a win across the board. Even after 40 years of running games, I still employ this. Even with DMs less practiced than I control my table and problem players with a couple of tools I got from DM Bill's tool belt. And yes, that hyped up DM was Bill and that perfect hair guy was Lou. I learned how to cram a ton of fun stuff into a short one shot from sitting at Scott Legault's table. So thanks for the tools, Mr. Legault. Cinema. I got some of my best cinema making tools from Huge Rod Matthias Johansson, and I'm still working on that tome that Jerome over at D20 to Curtain has to his voice. He's got a way that makes you just pay attention when he speaks. There's always something that can be learned. Always a way you can improve. As long as you stop asking, who's a better DM, and start asking, what can I learn from this DM that I don't already know? Oh, and the other thing, instead of being intimidated when a more practiced DM sits at your table, take it as an opportunity to get some constructive criticism from that DM. I like to think of this as learning the tricks of the trade. You may not be borrowing from their tool belt, but it's more like showing you the best way to hold the hammer. I can swing a pretty heavy hammer when I need to. Thanks to DM Bill for that trick of the trade. Now, there are many ways to fill your DM tool belt, and this is just one. See you next time in the dojo.